Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to meet you today. My name is Steven. I'm one of the campus recruiters with TCS, and with myself, I have Isha. And so today we're going to be talking a little bit more about our open positions. We're also going to have Isha kind of share her experience as a software engineer at TCS. And yeah, we have a really fun presentation. I'm one of the campus recruiters here at TCS, so I hire for our entry level internships and full-time positions. I currently reside in Philadelphia. So if anyone said Philly, shout out to there. um, but yeah, and then I've been with TCS for about a year now and worked in recruiting for about 5 years. Isha, do you want to just tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I joined TCS in July of 2020, so it's just been over 1.5 years for me. And I joined as a software engineer, and like right out of my master's degree, I joined TCS as my first company.
Perfect. Um, so just a little bit more about the agenda for today. So we're going to start off just talking a little bit more about TCS. Talk about our presence here in North America. Then we'll have a discussion with Isha. She'll share some of her experiences, while working at TCS for the past year and a half. And then I'll also wrap up by going over our open positions. So I'll talk about our internship and full-time opportunities, and then we'll open it up to any questions that you guys might have. So just to talk a little bit more about TCS, so who we are. So we are the global leaders in technology focused consulting. So we're actually the second largest consultants in the world. So we are a global company headquartered in India, and globally we have about 500,000 employees. So we're a really large, size organization. And like I said, we are IT consultants. So we hire IT professionals to, go on site and help our clients with any needs that they might have. Some of the more popular industries that we have clients within are banking and finance, healthcare, and insurance. Um, and yeah, our purpose is to, provide a holistic and innovative consulting partnership with our clients. So just to talk a little bit more about TCS within North America, as I mentioned, we are a global company, but in North America, we do have a really strong brand here and a really strong presence. So we have over 22 billion in revenue. It's one of the largest with over 50% overall revenue since 2021. We have over 700 clients that we work with. So as I mentioned, some of the more popular industries are banking and finance, healthcare and insurance. But that's a large number of clients. So we do have clients that we work with within retail stores, public sectors, so government agencies, oil and gas industries, energy industries, as well as marketing. So almost any industry that you can imagine, most likely there's customers and clients that we work with within those industries. Um, we work with about 70 of the Fortune 100 companies and about 40% of the Fortune 500. And we are a leading brand. So in 2020, we were nominated as Forbes' award for Best Big Company to work for. And I think that really speaks a lot towards the culture here at TCS. I know when I first started, my manager was really helpful and eased me into the role and made sure that I had networking opportunities and met people throughout the organization. And I think that culture definitely resonates throughout. Constantly you'll see opportunities to join networking sessions, ERGs, which are our employee resource groups. So there's a lot of opportunity to meet people from diverse backgrounds and different backgrounds, and it's a really good opportunity to meet people, and especially with things being virtual. It's so nice to be a part of a company that is constantly sending out messages of join this event or join this speaker or this panelist. So it's really good to kind of have that really inclusive culture. And one of the things that I really like as well is there's a lot of thinkathons or like internal hackathons that you can always join, so you can sharpen your technical skills and also be a part of helping brainstorm solutions for some of our clients. And yeah, as I mentioned, we are a pretty large size organization. So within North America, we have over 38,000 employees. So that's all across North America, so all across the United States and in Canada. Um, and then, yeah, the other thing I want to talk about was corporate social responsibility. So Tata Consultancies is really ingrained within the culture and really giving back to society. One of our founders actually mentioned that the sole purpose of the company is to support the society. So about 50% or 50 cents of every dollar is given back to our shareholders. And we also, so with that mentality, we do a lot for, corporate social responsibility. We have a lot of, different events and ways that we give back to our communities. And one of the larger ones here in North America is the New York City Marathon. So we are a sponsor. And this year, I believe we actually created an app that helps track, some of your running, your pacing and things like that. So, you can definitely see us next year at next year's New York City Marathon. I think we also sponsor the Boston Marathon as well, but I would have to double check on that. And yeah, another initiative that we also, provide is called Go IT. It's one where we provide underrepresented groups with access to technologies, and that's through different trainings and teaching a lot of technical skills. So, students from K through 12, we help provide coding lessons and activities and problems that they can work on. And I believe last year, over the course of 2 years, we've reached out to over 1 million students. And then, yeah, localization. We have over 18 delivery centers all across North America. So we have, a lot of different offices within, the United States that you can, report to. And yeah. And also innovative labs. So we do have, labs at some schools. I believe Carnegie Mellon is one where TCS actually donated, a wing of one of the science labs and help give back to the research within that university. And then, yeah, we've won a lot of different awards. I know I mentioned Forbes's award. So in 2020, we were awarded Forbes's award for Best Big Company. And then another one I wanted to point out is also the Stevie's Awards. So in the past, we won over 18 awards for talent management. And I think, again, that really speaks towards our management, that we have really good leaders that, want to promote personal growth and growth within the company. One of the great platforms that we do have is called iEvolve. And it's a learning platform that you can use to take trainings from, technical skills to topics in the industry, or even like soft skills. So just last week, I took a training through iEvolve on how to, talk and be more engaging when you speak, within like a team setting or through presenting. So there's a lot of different, trainings that you can take through iEvolve, which is a really good internal platform to help boost some of that personal development and personal growth. And that's definitely encouraged through management. And then, as I mentioned, we all are also sponsors of the New York City Marathon. So yeah, I would love to just talk to Isha and learn a little bit more about her background. Isha is one of our software engineers for our life science clients, and she joined TCS back in 2020. So Isha, just to start off, could you just share a little bit more about your background and talk a little bit about why you joined TCS and what your current role is?
So, my background, I basically did my undergrad in India in electronics and communication engineering. And then right after that, I joined my master's program at Carnegie Mellon, where I did engineering and technology innovation management. And the reason I gravitated towards TCS and joined TCS as a company is because through IT consulting, I could use kind of both what I learned at my undergrad and my grad program to, with like a technical and managerial background, I can go towards I started with software engineering and then move forward in my career towards going more towards managerial projects and handling projects and program management. So that's kind of why I moved towards TCS. Yeah.
Perfect. And then, yeah, I know you mentioned, leading towards management and working in software engineering. Can you talk about some of the technologies that you use in your day-to-day role or within the industry?
Yeah, so in my current role, I've been working mostly with Java, and we're moving towards an Azure platform. So we are trying to go more towards cloud and Microsoft Azure. So we're just working on that.
Perfect. And then, yeah, I feel like a lot of the industry has been shifting towards cloud. Was that one of the skills that
Yeah.
you had kind of known before TCS, or was that something that you learned during our training session, the initial learning program?
No, so I, in my undergrad and grad program, I was more focused on Python. But as I joined TCS through the ILP program and then further through the Wings One program that TCS offers, once I started on my project, I started getting more into the Wings One program where I could learn more technologies. And that's where I've been increasing my knowledge in cloud and Azure.
Perfect. Yeah, and then just to kind of piggyback off that, we do offer a really extensive training program called our initial learning program, where we do teach a lot of the technical skills. And I know you mentioned that the Wing One program. Do you want to just talk a little bit more about the program?
Yeah, so I believe everyone who starts at TCS they start getting prompted to start towards working towards the Wings One program. And it's kind of a holistic program which has you working on technical, business, process, and articulation courses to kind of create an overall education background so you can educate yourself, work at your own pace, and then try to gain as many certifications in different technologies and business processes as you can.
Perfect. Well, yeah, and then one of the questions that we get a lot is, what would you consider your proudest moment during your time here at TCS?
So I don't know if I would consider it a moment. So I think when about 4 or 5 months into my first project, when I was able to work completely on my own without any supervision and uh, kind of understanding that I know what the work is and I can move and do everything on my own, that was a good moment for me. And also, I had the opportunity to be on a post for TCS's LinkedIn page. That was one of them.
Perfect. Um, Yeah, and I definitely feel like, there is like a slower ramp up, especially with that training program. It eases you into the role. And I know in my current role, it was something that I noticed too when I moved to TCS, that there is a slower ramp up, and you do feel comfortable after a couple months. It's not like you're just thrown in, and so that's great that that was something that you experienced as well. And um, but yeah, with the current environment and COVID, how do you continue to keep your team motivated, or how do you stay motivated during working from home, or during this COVID environment?
So we try to, me and my team, we try to stay in contact throughout, at least like once a day, not just on work calls, but like separately to go over whatever we can a bit more informally than in the work calls with clients. So the team can interact openly with each other. And during COVID, it was a bit tough in the beginning because I joined in July 2020 and didn't get to go into the office or anything. So I had to join completely virtually. That was tough. But after about a year, I think my project manager, he was able to have a team meeting in a park where we got to spend an entire day, meet everyone in the team. And now as things are starting to open up, we're going into the office 1 to 2 times a week. So just those interactions, a bit informal interactions with people has really helped.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's something that my team does as well. Is we found that just having one meeting once a week, that's just informal, where we basically talk about everything but work. It's something that's really brought our team closer together, and it's great to hear that your team is doing that as well. And I'm sure it's seen throughout TCS as well. And I know when I first joined our team, as someone that was new, starting off remotely, it was nice to kind of have that time to be able to just meet my coworkers, and just kind of meet people throughout. So, well, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Yeah, and then so how do you generate great ideas within your team, or how have you seen that the collaboration within your team?
Within the team, I think it's all about just talking amongst each other, and we so in my role, we were working on support and providing solutions to any issues that come up for the clients. And one of the ways we would get the great ideas is just to, once an issue comes up, everyone gets on a call. We kind of define what the issue was, and then everyone can pitch in and how, what the error might be, how you can go and fix it, and how it can be completed in the most efficient way to make sure there's no repercussions for the client. So I think it's just about open conversation and getting as many ideas out there as possible.
Perfect. Well, yeah, and then as a relatively recent grad and someone who's now been on the team, what are some of the more important traits that you would look for when bringing on an employee into the team, or something that you've noticed would help someone be successful within the position?
So I've noticed that it's about how much you try to put yourself out there and ask as many questions as possible, take on as much as you can from the get-go. Just try to get as involved as you can with everyone. Make sure you're interacting with everyone, and just yeah, I think that's one of the things is like just ask as many questions as you can.
Perfect. Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like, whenever you're starting off in a position, it's always great to ask questions. And I know it's kind of a cliche to say that there's no stupid questions, but I definitely felt whenever I'm starting a new role that just asking, a million questions, it helps you learn. And
Yeah.
I think that that's really great advice. Is that something that you've seen as well, that kind of the new people always just ask a lot of questions?
Yes, I've seen it both ways where some people don't ask as many questions, and then that's where it gets kind of difficult because for someone who's been with the company for so long, you kind of get used to a rhythm. And then when someone new joins, it's a bit hard for them to just like get into the flow of stuff. But if you don't ask questions about what we're talking about, you might not understand it completely. And we understand that, but we won't know until the new joinee asks the question. So it's like we can't help you till you ask us to. So
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to like meet that. So that's why it's like it's always good to ask questions.
perfect. Um, well, yeah, and then that kind of, leads into my last question is, what advice do you have for anyone that's, new joining TCS, or, someone that's about to embark on their career?
I think it's good to kind of make sure you're one just try to join a team, work on what you're interested in. Always ask about um, where you want to go with your career. Kind of be open with your managers and stuff so that they can help you get to your goals, so that they know what you want in the future, and so that they can work towards that with you, which was something that I went through, which is once I started, I was able to talk to my managers about things like that so that they could help me move towards my goals. And just try to talk to people as much as you can and interact, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, a great piece of advice too is always to, not be afraid to try something new. I feel like there's a lot of times, within your role that once you kind of learn something, you feel comfortable. But if you can, build on your skills by taking on another project, or, something that you might not normally do, that helps. It might be tough in the beginning, and it might be like a lot of learning involved, in some failing, but it's, I feel like overall that helps you grow. And learning new skills is something that will always kind of make you stand out. And so yeah, I definitely feel like, not being afraid to kind of, be uncomfortable or try something new is something that I've always seen is, some good advice as well. Um,
Yeah.
well, perfect. Yeah, Isha, thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask Isha about, her time as a software engineer? We could definitely open it up to any questions, for Isha at this time.
Okay. Thank you for having me join this beautiful session. I heard you, Isha, talk about the initial learning program, and that's something that sort of resonated very well with me. I'm currently in a cloud bootcamp program. We'll be graduating sometime next month. And I'm currently scheduled to take my the Amazon Solution Architect certification exam. So I'm just looking at if there's any opportunity in this regard. I know regarding the initial learning program, if it's something I could put a feed forward, I would love to hear you say something about that because I'm willing to take the chance with you.
I'm not sure I completely understood the question. I heard
Oh, I'm sorry. My question is, I said I'm currently in a cloud bootcamp program. I'll be graduating by next month, and I'm currently scheduled to take the Amazon Solution Architect certification exam. So I heard you made mention about the initial learning program, and that's something that I found really very interesting because I'm just about starting my career. So I'm looking at if you probably say something about that, I'm willing to, I want to put it forward. I want to take on the opportunity if you could say something about that. Thank you.
So the ILP program, it's I'm not sure if it's like 6 or 7 week program where you're able to hone your technical skills before you join into your project, and it's a good learning experience for anyone joining the company because you get to join the ILP program with the newest recruits, and then you go on to work on different technical projects with when you're put into teams with the other recruits, and then you work towards a common goal. It's a great learning experience, like just being able to interact with other people joining the company, and of course you have like teachers taking you through certain technical programs that you will go through for Java or any other software that you'll be working on. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you for the response. I just wanted to know, like, is the program currently accepting application, or was it like, I mean, for those who are interested in the program? Because I'm willing to to send an application for the program.
Yeah, so the initial learning program is actually after you've actually gone through the interview process and been offered the position and it's part of your training. So it's basically part of like your onboarding experience. So should you get an offer, after that time is when you would then go through this program. It's part of training when you're actually in the role. And I can talk a little bit out after this about the hiring process, where to apply. I'll cover that in the next couple of slides.
So my question is, I will be graduating later in the year in the fall. I'm doing dual master's degree program. I'll be graduating with 2 masters in MBA, masters in information technology management, and then master in cybersecurity. So within the purview of that, I'm just looking at what are the opportunities do you have within those categories, if I may ask, within maybe Dallas neighborhood or Texas generally?
Yeah, I can talk about our open positions, right after. At this time, I just want to direct any questions that people might have to Isha about, her experience as a software engineer. In a couple minutes, I can go over our open positions and how to apply.
Hi, Isha. My name is Varun. I'm getting my degree in mechanical engineering. So I was kind of wondering, as an engineer yourself, where do you see yourself succeeding, and what are your challenges working in a software engineering role?
So my background was in electronics and communication engineering, which did have coding as a part of it. So software engineering was not far off from my background. So I wouldn't say there were that many challenges because it was a part of what my background. And I think it was just about learning whatever is put in front of you. Originally, I can say I was working more towards Python and IoT, and now moving towards Java. It's just about increasing, branching out and trying to increase your knowledge in every field.
Yeah, sounds good. I know a lot of my classes have been working in Python as well, but more towards the end of optimization and design. So um, looking forward to kind of learning more about the process. Thank you.
Isha mentioned about IT consulting and software engineering. Those are two completely different fields. What made you decide to go in the direction of being a developer?
So for my career projection, I was looking towards first getting a base on software. Since this is my first job, I wanted to learn more about the technologies used in these fields. That's why I went for software engineering as my first role. And then now moving forward, I would want to go more towards consulting or project management. That's why it's kind of a mix of technical and managerial.
Are you usually actually coding on a daily basis, or are you cleaning up bugs in others' code?
So the role I am on right now is for bug fixing, and then there is some development involved, but it's more towards bug fixing right now.
Very cool. And then Franco wanted to know what your day-to-day looked like, if you could maybe summarize that a little bit, or what your first few months were like.
So in the first few months, like I'd say the first month, my day-to-day was just get online on time, get on call with my manager. We would go over the requirements of the day, kind of go through all the calls that were required, and then if any issues would pop up, then we would work on those together, and also working with my offshore team. So I had to work like early in the morning. I was able to speak with my offshore team till around 12 when they would go offline, and then I would work alone with my manager who's in the US, and then again in the night the offshore team would be online. So it's kind of like just trying to like work everything out with people so that I'm learning continuously, and then whatever new issues were popping up that I didn't know about earlier, we would go over them together on calls and stuff, so that I knew how to handle the situation when it if it happened again in the future.
You were talking about doing projects together. What sort of projects are you talking about, and how would someone who has some coding experience but primarily mechanical experience fit into something like that? Would it be mainly project planning or research or connecting, or what?
I think did you mean when I was talking about the ILP project?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the ILP program, they take you through some courses for coding, and part of that is putting you into groups to solve certain situations through code. So it's part of the coding program. So just to increase your knowledge on that, it's kind of like a grad course where you'd be put into a group project with your friends, and then yeah, so it's just to increase your coding knowledge before you join the company and are put into a project.
Okay, and would that be considered paid or unpaid?
Yep, so that would be your pay would start on your first day, and so you would be paid for that training.
I was wondering if you guys were hiring international students with mechanical engineering master degree, because since we have been doing like programming as well, so we've worked with Java, Python, and so many other programming systems, languages. So I was wondering if like you could hire people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, I can jump in and answer that question. So for our full-time positions, we do offer sponsorship, and I can talk a little bit more about the open roles in a few moments, and kind of walk through, what majors we're looking for. But we do offer, sponsorship for those full-time roles.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So I recently graduated with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from George Mason University. It's in Virginia, and like, I'm planning to pursue a career in data analytics, but I don't have any experience. So like I'm doing like an online certificate right now with IBM. It's through a website called Coursera. And I just wanted to ask if you guys have any availability in the data or internships in the data analytics field, maybe in the summer.
Yeah, I can cover our internships in a couple of slides, but unfortunately for data analytics, we do not have any internship opportunities available. But I'll cover, specifically in a few moments, what open roles we have for our internships.
Isha, when you started with TCS, what level of programming experience did you have? Were you more of a beginner or intermediate coder?
I'd say about intermediate. I'd been coding since high school, so high school, undergrad, grad school. So,
Isha, how much did you focus on lead code HackerRank, and did you have a plethora of projects on your GitHub?
No, I didn't work on GitHub that much. In my undergrad, I focused more on I worked on device coding for Arduinos, so I wasn't exactly working on GitHub, but I had to learn that when I joined. So that was something I had to work on quite a bit once I joined, and then work on separately after hours so that I could get up to par with that.
Awesome. And how many projects do you think, or clients do you work on within an average day or week? Is it similar to types of work between clients or a large variety?
No, I'm just working with one client, and then there are multiple projects within that.
Yep. So you would typically be assigned to work for just one client, and then like Isha was mentioning, you'd work for a variety of different projects that they might have at a time.
Awesome. And then Catherine wants to know about a specific coding project you've done, one during trading and maybe one on the job.
So I don't exactly remember for the training, and I'm not sure I can talk about the coding I do on my job. So
yeah, I was gonna say if you were allowed to.
Yeah, sorry, I can't answer those.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Could you
mention
like the programs that you use on like a day-to-day?
So I'm not sure how much more I can talk about what exactly I work on with my client, but it's mostly with Azure and Databricks.
Cool. And Aisha, a lot of people are asking what your interview and recruitment process looked like. Could you maybe walk us through what that was like?
Yeah, so I believe I had I think three rounds of interviews. There was an HR interview, there was a coding interview, and then another personal HR interview. It was quite a while ago, so I don't remember exactly, but yeah, there were 3.
Yeah, typically there's like a technical assessment followed up by an interview with management. And then should you move forward from there, the final round would be an interview with HR.
Cool. Leticia wants to know what advice you would have to boost coding experience and what resources best fit with your role.
So I'd say just try to, I'd say like, just practice your coding, take on more projects that you can work on. And yeah, just try to like keep exploring different softwares, because you can't just function on one. You should be able to able to move across different softwares.
Awesome. And a couple of people are inquiring about the life science aspect of your work. Would you mind delving into that a little bit, Isha?
So I am in the life sciences unit, but the work is primarily software engineering. It's all about data and their supply chain data that's going for the client. It's kind of hard to talk about like the client without giving away too much,
right.
But like, yeah, it's mostly software engineering, so it is data related. It's not, I wouldn't say it's anything related to biomedical. It's just defining the category of the company being in life sciences.
Cool. Michael had a cool question regarding collaboration. When you work with a client, do you work with the specific client one-on-one, or do you work in a group, a team, by yourself?
So I work on a team from TCS, and then we work with, so it's one client, and then people from different departments will interact with us as they encounter any issues with their supply chain data. And then my team will work on those issues and then get back to them. So it is multiple business heads within the client company.
I was just curious because my major is computer networks and cybersecurity. And I was just wondering if there were any opportunities at TCS with that major.
Yeah, we do have some cybersecurity positions available. I know for some of the openings that we have, or I've seen recently, are for like our threat management center, and more. It's more working internally within TCS rather than like in like a client team. But I can talk about typically when you would apply for like under our software engineering for that role. But I can mention that a little bit during like the open positions and how to apply. Well, yeah, Isha, thank you so much, for telling a little bit more about, your day-to-day and some of the technologies that you've worked with in the past. One of the things I just wanted to talk about was our career opportunities. So, how to apply, what roles that we have available. And so, one of the ways that you can apply is by going onto our website, which is tcs.com/careers. And then you would navigate to the page entry-level hiring. So it's in the middle of the page, it'll say entry-level hiring, and then that will have all of our open positions listed. And then, yeah, if I know I mentioned about that cybersecurity role, it actually falls within our software engineering. So if you're interested in cybersecurity, you can apply through that software engineering link. We don't have like a specific cybersecurity job opening. But yeah, and then some of the internship opportunities that we do have available is we do have a summer internship program. It would be 12 weeks. So it's, 40 hours per week, Monday through Friday. And it's a 12-week long internship program. So it runs from the end of May through August. Most likely it would be a virtual internship. It's possible that, it might have to report in the office 1 or 2 days a week, but for the most part, it will most likely be virtual. It is a paid internship. And just to kind of cover what we're looking for in terms of requirements for the position. So we're looking for an overall GPA of a 3.0, someone who has valid U.S. work authorization, and typically we are looking for more STEM related majors. So for our internship opportunities, we do have a electrical engineering internship, a mechanical engineering internship, and then a biomedical internship. And then we do have a few openings for our summer software internship as well. And so, most of the majors that we're looking for are STEM majors. For that, that's, software engineering internship. But obviously for like the electrical, mechanical, and biomedical, we're looking for, those engineering degrees. And then, yeah, another one of the requirements is that you must be pursuing your studies in the United States. So you must be attending a university within the US. And also just have an entrepreneurial spirit. So, we are, IT consultants, as, Isha mentioned, it is, collaborative. If there's, problems or anything that comes up, it is a lot of like teamwork and working within, a team. So we're definitely looking for someone that has, that teamwork mentality and entrepreneurial spirit. With the internship, as you go through the interview process, you'll meet with management and be assigned a project to work on over the summer. You'll have weekly one-on-one check-ins with management, and a lot of times we'll also assign a mentor as well. So you'll have a few layers of support that you can kind of go to if you have any questions. And yeah, it's a really good opportunity to, get some hands-on experience. As I mentioned, you'll be working on a project over the course of the summer, and a lot of times at the end of the summer, you'll present it to management. So it's a really good way to kind of get some experience and then also be, potentially considered for full-time opportunities as well. And yeah, for internships, we have, typically, we hire about like 30, summer internships. So we have, pretty high volumes of internship opportunities. And then for our full-time opportunities, we do have a software engineering and then an engineering role. So for the software engineering, this would be on the left, you can see a lot of the majors that we require. So it would be anyone that's, pursuing more of those STEM majors like computer engineering, electrical engineering, IT, information systems, more of those like coding STEM type majors. we are looking for someone who has a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 and knowledge of basic computer programming. So, as Isha was mentioning, it is a lot of coding, but we do offer, training. So a lot of times we are looking for students that do have that basic, knowledge. We understand that this is an entry-level role, so not everyone is coming in with, multiple internships. A lot of times, we do, ask students about different projects that they worked on in class. So I always recommend to, students that are looking for entry-level positions to also talk about, projects that they've worked on, and definitely include that on your resume as well. We understand that you might not use, Java, in an internship, but you may have used it in a class project or, a personal project that you're working on. So I always, recommend students to showcase that on their resumes and through the interview process, because, it helps, showcase your skill with those technologies. And one of the other things is, an interest and willingness to travel and relocate. For some clients, they are, requiring you to work in person in the office, but, a lot of our engineers are working remotely at this time. It's possible in the future we might move to more of a hybrid type model. But yeah. And then some of the top technology stacks that we see our software engineers, utilize are .NET, Java, Python, DevOps, and cloud engineering. And then the next role that we have available is a data analyst. And so our data analyst role is a little bit unique in that there's actually 3 different areas that you could potentially be working within. So the first is as a data scientist. So this is, more of like a machine learning type role where you'd utilize Python and R. The second would be as a BI developer or data visualization type role. This role will be creating user-friendly dashboards, typically utilizing, dashboard programs like Power BI and Tableau. And then the third position is as a, cloud developer or data engineering. This is a role that would, rely a lot on, cloud solutions like AWS and Azure. And typically for the data analytics role, we're looking for, business or data analysts, anyone that has like a data science major, computer science, management information systems, mathematics, statistics, more of those like analytical type majors. And again, very similar to the software engineering role, we're looking for, basic computer science concepts, basic programming and information systems and data analytics knowledge. And then I know we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but, just to kind of provide more information on that initial learning program. So it is an 8 to 12 week program. So, after you start with TCS, you'd be enrolled in the initial learning program. So it's a great way to learn a lot of the different, programming languages. You'll be split into groups. You'll work on, projects and sometimes, hackathons or, mini, projects. You'll also be hired in classes. So, you'll be hired alongside, sometimes, 80 to 100 other people, sometimes smaller class sizes. But it's a great way to, meet other people. We also bring in alumni of the ILP program. So, people who have been, through the program and are currently with TCS, hired within the last year. So, we bring them back in just to kind of share their experiences through the ILP program, as well as, it's an opportunity to network and meet people who are currently working, all throughout TCS. You got to learn, what they're currently working on, and just network. It is a pretty large organization, so it's a great way to kind of meet people all throughout the organization. And then after the 8 to 12 weeks, you'd then, work with, with your client or the account that you've been assigned. So this program is really kind of a way to kind of ease that transition. We understand for a lot of students, this might be your first full-time role. So it's a way to kind of just ease that transition into working, learn different, programming languages and overall just feel comfortable within the position. And then, yeah, we do have location-based hiring. So, in our Northeast, we hire, typically within, the regions on the right. So, if you're in the Northeast, we typically look for the individuals that are open to relocating. So for example, if you're in the Northeast, we typically look for candidates that would be open to relocating to, any of the states within the right-hand side. So like New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, New York, et cetera, just because you could be placed on any of the accounts within those locations. And then, yeah, so, thank you all so much for your time. Definitely feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. And then Max will also put in the chat, how to apply to our position. So you can apply, through WayUp's links or also on our website at tcs.com/careers.